Welcome back to my YouTube channel, but if you're new here, my name is Brittany and I'm a Chicago-based lifestyle content creator. So jumping into this video, we're back for another of my monthly favorites. So this month is March and we all know March is Women's History Month. So I wanted to focus on things I've been like loving a lot from this past month that are specifically brands founded by women or what female artists, shows focusing on women, all of that. Like just keep it, like a little bit of a girl power vibe around here, which is my motto always. And this is a pretty new series on my channel, but if you haven't watched my January or February monthly favorites, go back and do that too. All right, let's get started. Jumping right into my favorite category as always, which is beauty. Okay, so I have two products I'm sharing this month. The first one of them is from one of my now favorite hair care lines, and it is the Moisture Sealing Lotion from Cécred. So obviously I was gonna try Beyonce's new hair care line, like that was a given. I mean, I love trying new hair care products in general and just seeing like what's out there, what's new, and then if Beyonce launches something, obviously I'm gonna try it. So I will say I don't want to say panic bought it, but the line just launched at the end. It was like the last week of February. And I was like, okay, if this is like all the Ivy Park launches and like all of that stuff, like I gotta get it now. Like speak now, forever hold your peace. Obviously not, since this is like a full product launch and line. And the only thing I want to try, so in addition to this like lotion, I got like minis of the shampoo and conditioner, and then I do want to try a couple of the other products. I just didn't need them at the moment. Like I had products I was using, so I just tried this and I really like this lotion a lot. So I feel like the line Cécred in general, or the brand Cécred in general, seems to be like, it's kind of giving, I feel like, a little bit of like Olaplex and like Briogeo in terms of like the hair care brands, and that it's like really about like hair health for like all types of hair, and like how to get your hair like healthy and strong and not just like look pretty, if that makes sense. And I mean, Cécred was it like I said, it's for all hair types. Technically it was developed like for textured hair like first, and like that, it was like basically like that was the focus of developing products for textured hair, but then they like realized they could work on like a variety of hair types instead of like textured hair being like the afterthought, which can be the case with a lot of brands sometimes, not typically black owned brands. But anyway, this lotion, it reminds me a lot of what's the brand, Luster's pink lotion, like from the 90s. I feel like every little black child in the 90s, like that was like the go-to hair product, at least like in our household. It was like the pink Luster's lotion, and so this is like taking me back to that. It feels like it's like a similar type of texture. I don't want to waste too much right now, but I will put it in my hair probably. So it's like a similar, just like a true like lotion. I've been using this a lot as like when I've just been like washing my hair, as like my main curl product. So I'll, like, after I wash my hair, like put it in a little bit in, and then like, heat protectant, all of that, and then diffuse my hair. And just, it actually is, I feel like, giving my hair very much like my curls. I mean, my hair's a little frizzy right now. It's been a few days, almost a week since I washed my hair, but I feel like it's making my curls feel like bouncy or like look lighter, and like they have a decent amount of like bounce and movement to them. Some of the products I was using before for like curl definition, I feel like were a little bit too heavy and thick, and were almost like weighing my hair down rather than like giving it the space to breathe, if you will. So I really, and it just like smells so good too. So I really like this. Like I said, I have minis of the lotion or the shampoo and conditioner because I like to try shampoos and conditioners before I just like dive all in and buy them. And I haven't used them yet, but I probably will use them actually I'm going on vacation next week and they're minis, so I'll bring them with me and I'll probably use them then. And then I do want to try the hair oil once I run out of my like Olaplex hair oil that I've been using. But all in all, I've just like heard really good things about like I haven't really seen a terrible review from like anyone on like social media, and I mean, Beyonce has a lot of haters, so I'm honestly shocked that no one has like put out a bad review, but excited to like try the rest of the line. So that is one of my favorite beauty picks from the month. And then my second one is this is like more in the makeup realm, but it's from Colé, and it's what is this, the full name of this? I feel like 100-year-old do I need readers? How I just like held this away from me to read it, but it's called the Skin Enhancing Stick, and I have this in shade 220. So it's like a foundation stick. I actually do have it on today. It's a little bit more full coverage, I feel like, than a lot of the base products that I've been using. So I feel like the color, it's like a pretty much a perfect color match for me, which is really, really hard to find in foundation, or base products. But it is like truly like, I mean, it's like very much skin blurring. It does give like, it feels light, so it doesn't feel like something heavy. And that's kind of where the struggle I've been having in like trying to find like a good like foundation, basically, is I pretty much have just been wearing like skin tints, I feel like, for the past couple of years, because a lot of foundations felt like too thick and heavy. It like felt like I was wearing foundation where I mean, I like the coverage of it, but I don't want it to feel like something heavy and thick. And this is kind of like the perfect in between of that. And like it gives the coverage, but it isn't, like, it almost feels like I don't have makeup on right now. And just like the undertones that are offered for this like product line, I feel like are really good, especially for brown skin, because a lot of lines don't have the range of like undertones for like brown to dark, like to deeper skin tones, and they'll just have like a few different deeps. A lot of them are usually very warm, and I have more of like natural or neutral and like yellowy undertones, and a lot of times I put like makeup on and like my face just looks too red. But this is like a golden, I think the undertones are considered like golden neutral, which was like perfect for me. And I love Colé, like all of their products in general anyway. It's like black owned brand, and like everything I've tried from Colé I really like, including this. So would 12 out of 10 recommend giving this a try if you're looking for something like in that realm. Okay, moving into, we'll say, the wellness category. So I've had this for a while, something I've been using for a while, and I fell off of using it, and I like started using it a little bit more like a couple weeks ago, and I need to get back into using it again because like I think I need it. But it's the magnesium, or the Moon Juice magnesium powder. I mean, it's technically called magnesium, and this is the berry unstressing drink, so it's like berry flavored, but it's magnesium powder. And I mean, you don't need a lot of it. Yeah, 1 teaspoon is like what they recommend. And so like, and then mixed into like water. And I mean, I really was using this to like help me fall asleep at night, because a lot of times I go through like phases of having a hard time sleeping. And even like actually this week I've been having a hard time sleeping, so I really need to like re-up and start using this like regularly again. And it's like I'll be able to sleep, but then I'll wake up in the middle of the night or like really early morning and just not be able to go back to sleep. Like I'll wake up at like 4 or 5 or something. But when I'm hitting it hard with the Moon Juice, I don't have that problem. And so how I usually like prepare this, and this is actually what I'm gonna do tonight now that I'm thinking about it, is make like a sleepy girl cocktail. It's like what, I feel like that's what they call them on the internet. Who am I, 100? That's what they call them on the internet. But so I mix like about a teaspoon of this in with some pomegranate juice, because pomegranate juice also like helps with sleep. So I mix that together and then put a little ice in it, add some sparkling water, and then some lime juice, stir it all up, and you've got yourself a sleepy girl mocktail. And it does taste really good too, and like does help with sleep. So that's actually for sure gonna be on my agenda tonight. As part of my nighttime routine. I feel like I need to get back into my good bedtime routine, because I think that's probably what's been like affecting my sleep too, like stopping me from getting good sleep. So, but I love this magnesium powder from Moon Juice. So again, another woman-owned brand, or female-owned brand. All right, and then and then this is one of my favorite things. Like I've talked about this a couple, maybe once or twice in my vlog before, but I couldn't not talk about it, I feel like, in this favorites video. And it is my necklace from Styled by Jules. So I mentioned this like when I first bought this necklace, but I got it from this like small business called Styled by Jules that I stumbled across in New York at the Chelsea Market. Like Jules has, I say Jules as if I'm best friends with her, but I actually feel like I am, based on the interaction that we had. She was so cool. We were vibing. Me and my friend Leah and her were all vibing. But she basically, like, she sells like all of these are different like pendants, and I got all, it's like mostly themed around zodiac, so I got all like Virgo ones, and you get to choose your own pendants from like the offering that she has, and then you can also like choose the chain or the necklace that it actually all gets strung on. And it's just really cool because it's very personalized. Like I don't think I would ever run into anyone that would, even if they had something from Styled by Jules, they wouldn't have the exact same like combination of things that I have. And it just feels very personalized, because I mean it is, I picked it out myself. And like I said, Jules was just so cool, and like I loved her. She was a vibe. And I have been wearing it a little bit more recently. So I'm trying to get back into wearing my jewelry in general because I feel like I haven't been, but I have been like these past few weeks, and jewels is like a staple now in my wardrobe. All right, so now moving into the entertainment realm. So music, movies, TV show. But we're actually gonna start with music first. So my album of the month, record of the month, whatever we want to call it, we're gonna say record of the month or album of the month, is Legacy by Jamila Jones. So I was a little bit familiar with Jamila Jones before I got this record. This was actually my from my record club subscription that I'm a part of, like through my local record store, Rattleback Records. This was one of my March picks, and so I had heard of Jamila Jones before because she's from Chicago, so I've just seen her like name appear, but I had never really listened to her music before, and I love this album, and now I'm obsessed with her in general. She has a really cool voice. Like, I don't know who to compare her to. Maybe I guess you could say like an Erykah Badu almost, kind of, but it's like very sultry, very soulful. I think her genre of music would be technically considered R&B, but I feel like it would be almost more of like an alt R&B, and like it more so in like that category than just like your typical standard or your like standard R&B, I guess. But she's considered like a conscious like musician, so kind of like again like I guess like a Lauryn Hill, Erykah Badu, Kendrick Lamar type of like vibe. But I really have been liking this album. I've listened to it a couple times through now, and then the records themselves are like a dusty, I think it's called dusty pink is technically the color of it. It's really pretty. And then on the inside, on the gatefold, there's this really cool, I mean, all of the photography across this album, like artwork is really cool, but on the gatefold on the inside, this is like a really, I feel like a nice picture. Even just like, it's like soft touch printing on here, which is so nice because you can see like the Jamila Woods Legacy. And then there's a quote on the inside. You can't really, it's hard to see on the camera, but it says, "What will your legacy be?" And I started following her on Instagram too after I listened to this album, and I was like, oh yeah, she's like one of my faves now. And she does share a lot of political, or a lot of like activism content. So the only highlight she has right now on her Instagram profile is like a Free Palestine highlight. So it's all the things she's been sharing about freeing Palestine and like how to support people in Gaza, things like that. And like just sharing information. And then she also, I think she had a new album that just came out, and I think it's called Water or something along those lines. Water. Okay, maybe it's just called Water, but it is, I think it might be about environmentalism, and which is obviously like a big problem everywhere, especially in the United States. And she shares a lot of information about like environmentalism and environmental activism on her Instagram too, which is cool. So would definitely recommend checking out Jamila Jones and giving her music a listen, and just like checking out her content in general. So that was my favorite album of the month. Okay, then moving into my favorite TV show of the month. So this is a show that was recommended to me, by my friend Leah actually, or that was recommended to me at the end of February, I think. And I'm not totally done with it now that I think about it. It's on Netflix. It's called Survival of the Thickest. It's really funny. It's just like it's a cute sitcom, but it also has like, I guess like more serious undertones in it too, which I guess is very typical. It's like a typical sitcom type of vibe. But it's, in short, it's about this woman living in New York. She is in her late 30s. I want to say she's 38, and she has a long-term boyfriend. This isn't a spoiler. This kind of like all happens right at the very beginning of the first episode. She has a boyfriend, they break up, and her life kind of crumbles because like they were living together, they were also working together. She doesn't really have any money. And so she has to like find a new apartment and kind of just like get her, like take control of her life again. And it's just like, it's funny and just like really enjoyable, and like would recommend giving it a watch. It's something you could easily just like put on, enjoy a couple episodes of it, and then kind of come back to it like whenever. But I really have been liking it so far. And then in terms of movie for the month, my favorite movie, so I actually saw, or my movie of the month is going to be something that I actually saw in February. So you can probably hear my dog aggressively drinking water in the background. She's the thirstiest creature on the face of the planet all the time. But anyway, my favorite movie, or my movie pick of the month, is something I saw in February, and it's just really has been sitting with me since I saw it, and that was like over, at this point it's been almost a month, or close to almost over a month, and that movie is How to Have Sex. So when I first saw previews for this movie, because the previews were very vague, I thought it was going to be almost like a coming of age, like a Euphoria type of movie, just like based on the like the trailer and everything. So then I don't really always look up reviews or like deep in-depth synopses before I go see a movie. I just like kind of like, oh, what do I think this is about? Let me go see it. And this is a UK, like a movie like that came out of the UK. So I don't think it was showing at like many movie theaters in the US, but it was showing at the movie theater that where I had my movie pass, where I always go, Alamo Drafthouse, because they do a lot of international screenings and stuff there. And this movie was nominated for like a handful of BAFTA. I think it actually won some BAFTAs too. But what the movie is actually about, in so many words, is consent and sexual assault in a lot of ways. And the way, it's just like the way that they, like the storytelling of it and the way that you walk through this experience with the main character, it was so gut-wrenching because it just was so real and raw, but also it was so like, I can't even think of the word. It was just so tactfully and realistically depicted that it's like, I could picture this happening to, and I do think, unfortunately for women, this is something that isn't that far-fetched. Like the way that everything plays out, it's like, yeah, I could see this happening to someone that I know. This has happened to someone that I know. Like I've heard someone tell me a story about something exactly like this. And it's so heartbreaking to watch. And so it's about these three, I thought they were in college the entire time I was watching the movie. Because again, they're based in the UK, so they're using phrases about school that just aren't familiar to me, like as an American. And because they were they're on like a spring break kind of trip, basically, or like an end of summer trip before they're like, I think, about to go to college. And they are like drinking and partying. So I guess me being like, maybe I'm old now, but I was like, oh, these couldn't be high schoolers like doing this, but they were high schoolers. And they're on like I said, like these three girls out on a spring break trip, and they like meet up with another group of like friends that are staying at the same hotel as them. And the main character ends up, like I said, like being pretty much sexually assaulted by one of the other guys. And what happens is she has this like sexual encounter, or she has this encounter with one of the guys from the other group, where it's like he is trying to kind of force himself on her, and she doesn't really give consent, and he's almost like pressuring her to, and then she kind of almost reluctantly does, and then he does, like later on, like it's more blatantly, I feel like she's saying no, and he is still kind of forcing himself on her. And I think like this would be a good movie, like if I had teenage kids, like girls or boys, I think this would be a good movie to watch with them, to show like this is what consent is not. And so you could see how that like plays out, because a lot of times like you don't know what to do or what to say, or like what you might be like, this feels weird, but I don't know if like I'm supposed to say anything in this situation. But this like very clearly depicts how things go wrong. And then even in terms of the like repercussions that this boy, I guess, faces, there are none. And it's almost like his friends are like, it's almost like oh, boys will be boys, and it's like, no, they won't be. We need to like tell people that's wrong. And even when she's telling her friend about it, she almost is feeling guilty, like I should have said something earlier, because it's like very much after the fact. And her friend does kind of say, why didn't you say anything? But it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction, because she's so upset that like she couldn't do anything to help her friend. And then the girl is like, well, yeah, I should have said something. And she's like, no, that's not it. It was just sad. But it was really good at the same time. And like by the end of the movie, I was sobbing. It was like this, because it doesn't end with any kind of a resolution. It's just like, this is what happened, which is again, very real. And it was like the screen went dark, the lights came on, and like everyone, it seemed like in the theater was like had just been sobbing. So it was just something that was very like, it really got you, I feel like, because again, it was just like portrayed so clearly. I don't know, it was just good. So if you can find a way to watch it, I don't know if it's available on any streaming services in the US, but it's something that I would definitely recommend watching if you have access to it. And just to like not end on such a dark note, there was like, people have probably seen it, but there was basically like a meme kind of going around of it's still related to this movie. But so Prince William, the Duke of York or whatever his title is, Prince William, we all know. He apparently, one of his duties is to be the president of BAFTA. And at the BAFTA Awards, he's like, there was a shot of him and then the main character from How to Have Sex, and I can't remember what her name is, Ayo Adibri, and then another actress, and they're all kind of like chatting. And in the picture, you could just see Ayo going, like making this like shocked face, and he's talking to the main character from this movie. And then come to find out, actually he had apparently just said to her like, oh, loved the movie, it was so entertaining or so funny or something like that. It was something that almost made it seem like it was a lighthearted movie, and like it was obvious in that moment he had not watched the movie like at all, because everyone was like, no, it like wasn't. Like if you saw it, you would never say like, oh yeah, that was so great and fun, like it was a great watch. So that was just like a funny little moment. But anyway, these were all my favorite things from March. Like I said, if you haven't watched my previous favorites videos, go back and give those a watch. This is like a fun series that I'm really enjoying doing every month, so can't wait to be back from April. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.